Hi, I'm Charlie, and with me are Tag, her sister Boo, Boo's daughter Bootsy. Boo, don't be so anxious to get up. And Bootsy's daughter Apple. And they are here hopefully to stay and help me talk about a question that comes up constantly in the comments section of my YouTube channel, and that is, what should I feed my dog? What kinds of food do you recommend? What should I look for in a dog food? How much should I feed my dog? So I'm going to address those questions in as broad a context as I can. But of course my experience is really with Cavaliers, and so I can be a little bit more specific when it comes to them. The first decision you have to make when you're selecting a dog food is, what type of food do you want? Do you want a wet food or a dry food? And I prefer myself to give dry food. First of all, for a large number of dogs, it's very convenient in terms of storage. It is jam-packed with nutrition, and as long as it's a good quality food, then I don't have to worry about my dogs getting a balanced diet. So what do I look for in a food? The first thing I look for is a good name brand. The types of foods that you see on the supermarket shelves, for the most part, are not really quality foods. The good quality foods you can get online or at a specialty pet food store. They cost a bit more, but they're certainly worth it. And that goes for both dry and wet dog foods. I look at the ingredients list so that I know what's in the dog food. I check out those first few ingredients that you see on the ingredients list because that's what the majority of the food is. And frankly, I'm not really concerned about whether or not the meat is the first ingredient, or maybe it's the third ingredient instead, or something along those lines. Just because there's a grain as a first ingredient doesn't mean that you have a bad dog food. You have to look at the overall analysis of the food. If I see shredded chicken, shredded beef, and so on as the first ingredient, that's a good sign about the food. But even if I see it as a second or third ingredient, goodbye Boo, that doesn't really upset me. I will look at the protein content. I look for a fairly high protein content. For an adult dog, they need an absolute minimum of 18% protein. I'll go up to about 25%. For puppies, it might go up to 27% protein. And you'll find that if you go to the website of the dog food manufacturer, or in many cases it's right on the bag, and you'll see the analysis. I look for special micronutrients that I know dogs need. With Cavaliers, I'm very concerned about heart health, and so I look for an ingredient called taurine, and I should see taurine in there as one of the major ingredients. I look for omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, also very often listed as EPA or fish oils, and those are essential for staving off things like autoimmune disease, arthritis, even cancer. They're very beneficial, so I want to see that in there. I want to see a good array of vitamins, the usual vitamins, the A, B, C, D, E, and vitamin K that you're looking for. With Cavaliers, I especially look for vitamin A. Vitamin A, everybody knows, helps eyesight, but it also is great for skin and coat health, and it's good for muscular development. I also look for a fiber content to make sure that they have proper fiber content. That's usually pretty low. That's usually about a 4 or 5% content of the food. In addition, I personally don't believe in grain-free foods. It's very stylish these days to go with grain-free foods. But the only reason you would ever need a grain-free food is if your dog has a proven grain allergy, and that's very, very unusual. And besides, there has been a statistical connection shown between dogs on grain-free diets and the development of a degenerative heart disease later in life. Now, most people think that it's because of the legumes that are used in place of the grains in the food when you go to a grain-free. But I would rather not take the chance. There's no need to avoid grains. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the origins of the dog species, there was a lot of grain in their diet at that point. Mostly when they would get prey and feed on the prey, they would either eat the contents of the stomach of the prey, and that would contain grains. Well, that's the end of my video on what to feed your dog. If you have any questions, please feel free to send it to me in the comments section of my YouTube channel. This was part 1 in a series of 2. The next video, part 2, will focus on how much to feed your dog. So watch out for that video. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video so that you can go right to it if you want. Meanwhile, Apple went out into the yard because she saw the other dogs going out, but Bootsy is still here with me. Say goodbye.